welcome to Adirondack Bigfoot. Today we have a special guest, Kilene. Am I saying that right?
That's correct.
All right, Kilene. I'm excited to talk to you because you're an Adirondack native, right? So you have spent quite a bit of your time in your life, and I can't wait to hear all about it in the Adirondacks and now living in Vermont. So our neighbor.
Yes. Yep.
So you didn't go far. We
No.
were just chatting before we got started about the Whitehall Sasquatch Festival that we have every year. So that's super exciting. We were there as a vendor this year, so that
That's,
was great. But I love your flag. I can't not
thank you.
call that out. That's awesome. So I'm Johnny. I'm out of Fort Anne, New York. So right down the road from Whitehall, not too far.
Not at all.
And we what we do is we just travel around the Adirondack Park. We hear Bigfoot experiences from folks. Sometimes we can get them live on location. Sometimes we get them on like this, and then sometimes it's just me kind of narrating someone's experience, and then I'll go to the area and do like a little investigation, take a look around the area where they had the experience to see if there's any clues or any evidence out there now. So that's kind of what we do. Other than we did attend the festival once. So that was last year. It was super exciting to be a part of that. It just grows and grows
Oh,
every
absolutely.
year. It's
Hmm.
crazy.
It's huge.
Um, yeah, it's so cool. So it's excited to be a part of that. But other than that, that's a little bit about me and our channel. So how about you share a little bit about yourself?
Well, I grew up in Whitehall.
Mhm. Oh, you grew up in Whitehall. Great.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
graduated in 2007. Um, I mean, I had always heard about like Sasquatch. And, like there was a lot of stories. People talked about it, but I don't know. I just, you always think somebody's out in the woods getting drunk or smoking something funny and seeing something. You don't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Until you see it or your peers have something. That's what happened to me. My peers had an encounter first,
Mm-hmm.
like down the road from where I had my sighting, actually.
Sure.
Um, and of course, I believed them, but like it was just hard to wrap my head around.
Mm.
And then I had my own sighting 9 years later.
Wow. That's pretty exciting. And boy, Whitehall, there's so much there. Brian, I got to spend some time chatting with him. And then met a couple other folks at the festival too, that were
Yeah.
Whitehall locals that have had some experiences in the area. And just so you know, I did do quite a bit of work in the area. I just haven't put it all together yet because I feel like because it's Whitehall, it deserves to be great, you know? So I'm trying to really like
Well,
save the footage and different things that I've had and done. I'm working on something, just so you know.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Um, well, feel free to share your experiences in any amount of detail that you'd like. Take your time, no rush. And I'm just going to listen in and be here to support. Okay.
Okay. Um, So I don't know how much you really do with like paranormal aside from Bigfoot. Um, do you want me to talk about that too?
Sure, yeah. No, I do a little bit of that. I have another podcast type that we put out with a couple of buddies. One is like a, dogman expert, and
Mhm.
one is more of an alien expert.
Okay.
And we do a lot of paranormal on that. So we speak about it quite a bit. It's Feel free to share whatever you'd like.
Okay, so well, obviously, I'm from Whitehall,
Mm-hmm.
so there's not a lot to do. So a lot of the times, it's spent riding around the back
Mm-hmm.
roads with your
Mm-hmm.
friends. So one night that's what me and a few girls were doing, and we happened to meet another group of kids in town at Stewart's, and they had just come from I don't know, out on the back roads further than I'd been at that age. Anyways, and so they were over in Vermont, turns out, at a place called Ghost Hollow Road.
Mm.
I don't know if you've heard of that, but it has an interesting location as well. So they told us, I don't even remember what they told us, actually. I don't remember the details. I just remember they were frantic about something.
Hmm.
And they told us we should go check it out and where it was. And so the four of us girls drove out there. Mind you, my friend had just washed her car before we went out there. So now it's
Mm-hmm.
all dirty from being out there.
Uh-huh.
So we go on the road and we drive down and it's a one-way road. It's dirt. There's nothing out there for like a couple miles before you even turn on the road. It was just creepy as it was. And then we got to where it looked like it ended in a field. And then there was a creepy house. And I just remember there was like tattered tarps everywhere. The house was all run down. We were freaked out. So we turned around at that house and started to drive back. And that's when the friend that was driving, like the steering wheel was pulling so hard to the left. She was white knuckled trying to keep it straight. Like we all got the same like sensation in our back for some reason.
Mm.
I don't know, it was weird. We made it out of there, got back to town. We were freaked out. Nothing
Yeah.
odd really happened until we got back to town and we were talking about it. We get out of the car back at the same gas station, and there's a set of child's handprints on the back bumper.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So that was the first thing that spooked me and got my mind working. Maybe there is something uh else out there, that we don't
Right.
see.
Yeah.
Um, and then off that road, there is one other road which we never bothered to go up until one time we did, and it was just one friend and I, and he was driving. And that road is called Cisco Road,
Hmm.
which reminds me of the word psycho, right? That's
Right.
what it all me. So that's and so we decided to drive up there. So it's basically somebody's really long driveway. Like we can see this pristine looking house on top of this well kept hill. It just didn't seem like it belonged where it was, right? So we're like, okay, we shouldn't be here because we're going right up to this house. So my friend does like 3-point turn in the driveway. We start to head back and we notice this big white star. Only once we look at it, we realize it wasn't a star. It was an orb.
What?
And the orb just, it wasn't moving or like pulsing like sometimes you hear. It wasn't like sometimes you hear it dances around or floats around. It just
Sure.
kind of gradually came closer, maybe 50 yards from us, and hovered 3 to 4 feet off the ground.
Mm.
It was white, blue, and purple, and had like, it looked like static electricity or like lightning in the bottom of it. Like you
Yeah.
could see the energy, right?
Mm.
And it did nothing. It just sat there and like, and then we drove away and didn't see it again.
What would you compare the size to? Like a baseball or softball or basketball?
By the time it stopped, I would say it was bigger, probably about a beach ball.
Really? Wow.
It was quite large. Um, yeah, and so that was the last thing I had happen. That was probably
So how did you all feel? I don't mean to cut you off. How did you all feel when that was that close? Did you feel anything?
just complete nervousness because what
Yeah.
is that? And how did
Right.
it just like stunned and like we should get away from this thing. We should get out of here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Something
Shouldn't
isn't
be
right. Yeah.
like totally. And so that was my second paranormal thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was before I graduated. So that was probably 2007, 6, 7. And then fast forward to 2015. Um, so I'm at my close friend's house, which is just outside of Whitehall. I'd been there several times over the years since we were young, had slumber parties and slept in the camper inside, outside, all around.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one night. Normally she would have had more family around, but they went camping for the week. So it was just her at the house. And I stopped by and we had a fire and we were just having a fire and a couple drinks. And then everything seemed normal, right?
Hmm.
Sorry, I'm skipping because I'm nervous thinking
No,
about
you're
it.
good. You're good.
Um, Everything seemed fine. Normal noises like normal traffic. Everything was calm, peaceful, great. And then all of a sudden, we heard like a howl or a
Mm,
screech. And we just looked at each other like, what was that?
mm,
Because that was something we've heard coyotes go off, like packs of them. We've heard bobcats scream. We've heard, I've stepped on a fox den once when I was young. I've heard mad animals. That didn't sound like anything I'd heard before.
right.
Um, so we didn't move. We didn't scare us enough to move. We were pretty close to our house, right next to the fire. So that's where we stayed, between the house and
Hmm.
the fire, right? Um,
How far
Trying to
away do you
remember.
think it was coming from?
It was hard to tell. It seemed like up over the hill, maybe. I don't
Hmm.
know. But I remember that night, it was about the end of it.
Hmm.
We went in, there was nothing else after the howl scream,
Yeah.
which now, after everything I've seen and watched and whatever, I know was a whoop. Um, I went home, she went inside.
Hmm.
I stopped by the next night, same time, had a fire again. We were like, kind of wary because what was that noise we heard?
Right.
No longer did we start talking about it, and we heard a whistle, like a high, like almost a siren level whistle, like, and that like shook us to the core because we were just talking about that, and we felt like it was almost like something hurt us, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so we just felt completely uneasy as the whistle wasn't very long, maybe less than 10 seconds. It was less than 10 seconds. But as soon as it ended, you go for that sigh of relief.
Mm,
And it wasn't there because every dog, seemingly all around, domestic or wild, just started like going off so loud, like barking and wildly for like 3 seconds. And then
wow.
it cut right off. Like they heard something we didn't.
Right. Wow.
So we went inside. We were like, this is too much. We're going in. We felt like we were being watched. We felt like we were being listened to. So we ran into the porch. Well, we got up, and then we heard a tree break, like a snap, like a large limb breaking
Right.
down the road, like just on the other side of our house. But that's not where the whistle came from because the whistle came from up over the hill.
Right. Right.
So we started going into the house, and there was the same noise, only louder, another tree break coming from the hill.
Mm,
So I just went and started my car, turned the headlights on, we put the fire out. That's it. Like we don't want to be outside anymore. Like
yeah.
this is like because and she was the same one I forgot to mention that was involved in the 2006 encounter
Mm,
with two other girls down the road. So she lived down the road from her first encounter. And this time, this was at her house where
right.
we felt like we were being watched.
Mm,
And so I left that night. Um, we spoke off and on throughout the week, but I didn't see her again till like, I don't know, 5 days later, 7 days later. And it was late after work. I used to work till midnight, so it was probably going on 1 a.m. by the time I got to her house. And we decided to sit in my car because we were nervous. Even though I wanted to see her, she hadn't had nothing happen, but we had the last couple times we were together, like this crazy stuff happened.
right.
So we sat in the car and decided to just kind of keep quiet and watch and listen. We didn't see anything, didn't hear anything. It was super late. We were tired, call it a night. So her driveway is a U shape. So when I pull out, I start my car and I go around to the left and I'm facing the road. And across the road is a field. So there's a slight incline in the driveway until you crest onto the road. And so my headlights are hitting the field. And as soon as my tires touch the road, my headlights are now in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Just off to the center of my vision is a 7 foot bipedal, hairy, rusty orange colored man walking across the field
Wow.
right in front of me. There was no tree. There was tall grass maybe just under its knees.
Mm-hmm.
My headlights hit it. It took a knee. It bent one knee on the ground, tucked the other one to its chest, put one fist on the ground, and took the other hand, palm out, and shielded its face from my headlights
Really? Wow.
and stayed right there. I
Yeah.
froze. It
What?
froze. I couldn't figure out what the heck I was looking at.
Sure.
Then I just slammed on the gas and ran stop signs and sped until I
Mm-hmm.
got back to Vermont.
Yeah.
And I didn't even tell my husband about it or her for like at least a whole day.
Yeah. I bet. Well, you got to process that.
Yeah. So, yeah, my first sighting, Bigfoot encounter was at her house just outside of Whitehall.
Um, can I ask you a few questions about that?
Absolutely.
What was the weather like?
Warm. It was summer.
Oh,
It
good.
was clear. It was probably June.
Did you have your windows open in the car?
Yeah.
Was there any type of smell or anything like that?
No.
No, you didn't notice the smell. What color were the palms of his hands?
Light tan, but more
Wow.
like it was orange. He had like it was almost like a redhead. So it
Mm,
was had like it was tan but like with an orange tint. I can just see
right.
like the hairless palms and then the orange hair coming around at like its wrists.
Great. Yeah. Wow. Woo.
No, I
Give-
don't specifically remember about its body was its face. I
Yeah.
know it turned and looked at me, but I can't retain any of the details of its face.
Yeah. Wow. Gave me the chills.
Mhm.
That's something. I mean, I don't know how I would react in a situation like that. I think I'd freeze up, you know?
I did, and then I was like, I gotta go. I can't sit here.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
no, dude, you sit there.
I wonder, you didn't happen to notice, was there any more like in the distance something that could have been additional?
I don't know.
No, just the one there.
Like, it must have thought I was gonna go right instead of left and turn
Hmm.
back this way and come out of the driveway because it seemed like it knew I was. From my thought, I thought about it all these years, and my conclusion I've come to is that it must have been right behind the little patch of trees on the other side of the road. And
Hmm.
then when I left and she went inside, he must have decided, or she, I don't know. I didn't see breasts, I didn't see anything else, but I know it was a person. The hair, I don't know.
Sure.
Um, it just like decided to leave when we left. So it just started walking across the field
Hmm.
and didn't know that my headlights were going to turn that way because it wasn't attempting to hide at all. And that's what gets me this whole time. Like, why did you just completely show yourself to me?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So you said 7 feet. So, did you get that from the height of the grass? And you said this must be about 7 feet.
A friend who walked out there and he's 5'8" and he
Hmm.
raised his arm as high as he could.
Yeah.
And that's what we figured. That's
Oh,
how we
okay.
figured.
Great. That's great. Did you go back the next day and see if there was any prints or anything like that, or? No.
It was a
Well,
really grassy.
you didn't even tell anybody till the next day.
Mm-mm,
Yeah.
no.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
what how do you feel kind of reliving that right now and thinking about it and picturing it in your head?
I've been nervous all day.
Really? Just because you're
Honestly.
going to be talking about it?
You
Yeah.
see, that's my story I tell everyone, and then there's my second level story.
Oh,
I honestly, I just started writing some of this stuff down to help myself process it and
sure.
whatever. And I let my mother-in-law read some of it, and she goes, "I never knew about the second one. How come you never told me?" I'm like, "Because everyone's always stunned by the first one, so I just leave it
Yeah.
at that."
Yeah, I'm stunned. I'm stunned. I'm stunned. I'm like, wow. I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes and think about how you feel and wow, that's a big event.
So, I mean, at first when I saw it, my mind thought maybe it was a deer or
Hmm.
like a deer jumping. That's what I thought at first because I saw the long arms, I guess it was, and I thought,
Yeah.
um, so it's always made me more aware, like, is that really a deer? Is that, um, so I've been more on alert for sure. Um, so, uh, 6 years after that, I'd put it in the back of my mind, other than the fact that, I'm, like I said, extra on alert, especially
Yeah.
when I'm out driving or walking by myself. Um, so I was on my way to town to the grocery store, which is maybe a 10-minute drive. I drove this road multiple times a day for many years,
Hmm.
every night. Um, I know the slope of the road, the curve of the road. I know that, every bush and tree in that field I drive by 6 times a day, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's nighttime, almost nighttime. Well, pretty much dark, a little bit of light in the sky. So I can see the shadows of the trees and the bushes down off the right side of the road as I'm heading into town.
Yeah.
And I see a big dark spot where I knew there was nothing there. And
Hmm.
I said to myself, that's weird, and I immediately had the second thought, don't tell me. Don't even tell me.
Right.
No.
Jeez.
And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna slow down when I get around the curve. I let off the gas just to like, get another look down the hill. I looked out my passenger window. Thought I was gonna look down the hill. I couldn't see anything. And this is like 3 seconds because I'm driving by at like 45, 50 miles per hour, right? So I look out the window and I'm like, wait, what? So the first thing I saw, the first movement was just this large. I first thought it was an elbow. I'm like, my elbow bend? Like what? It was a knee.
Mm.
It was a knee. Because the second thing I saw was abdomen. It was all like, it sounds crazy. It was hairy, muscular abdomen. And the width of this thing, all I could see was black hair. It took up my entire, from the windshield halfway to the back door. Had to be 3 foot wide.
Mm.
And it was standing 4 feet off the side of the road right next to me. It did not expect me to slow down. If he wanted to, that thing could have reached out and pushed my car right over. That's how close it was to me. I watched
Wow.
it in my rearview mirror take 5 steps across the road and disappear.
Oh my gosh. And
And
were you pressing the gas harder or jeez.
I stepped on the gas and took off.
Hmm.
And there's no service right through there. And I'm so bad wanting to like call my husband. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't. Oh my gosh, just race to town, go, go.
So do you feel it sounds like this one was it a different shade?
Yes, this one was black or
Mm.
gray, much darker, much wider than the first one I saw. The first one I would say was more slender. I mean, it still had big bulky shoulders, but it was more slender.
Yeah.
The second one was darker and much wider. And I only just saw its body shape in my rear view and my side mirrors.
How if you were to estimate a height on that one, what would you think? Taller than the seven?
I couldn't see its shoulders
Yeah.
other than the width,
Hmm.
like, you know,
Sure.
so its shoulders were higher than I was driving a Pontiac Torrent, so an SUV. It was higher than my SUV.
Yeah. And is this the same area? Both in the
Mhm.
same? Yeah. So,
Just over the border in Vermont, yes.
I'm
Mhm.
wondering if maybe the 7 foot was a juvenile and this was more of an elder, you know?
Mhm. Maybe. I don't know. But I think for some reason, by chance, I got to see both of them, and I don't know why. If I didn't
Yeah.
slow down, I wouldn't have seen the second one. If I went right, I wouldn't have saw the first one.
Yeah.
But
So
they were both very close to me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's extremely close. This is pretty amazing. Did you have your windows open that time? Did you smell anything that time?
I don't recall if I had the windows open or not. No, I
Yeah.
didn't.
How about a lot of times I'm sure you've heard about mind speak. Did you feel like they were, sharing anything with you, or like did you feel anything like they were warning you or anything like this?
I mean, I've heard of mind speak. I didn't hear anything other than my own voice in my head, but
Yeah.
I did get a feeling, like I said, like automatically for the second time, like don't tell me like this is it. Like
Yeah.
for some reason I knew like I was gonna see something.
Yeah. Wow. Um, so what conclusion have you come to based on you having these multiple experiences? So, whether they be paranormal, normal, whether they be Bigfoot, um, collectively, how is this affecting you, Kilene? Do you feel you have a connection with something more?
Oh, I just why have I been chosen
Yeah.
to see this elusive creature
Yeah.
so close? And like now I'm comfortable talking about it. This is my second interview,
Mm-hmm.
and I wrote into one other channel about it.
Sure.
I've talked to a couple friends and some family. Like I said, my mother-in-law didn't even know the second story until a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Um, I want to talk about it, but I guess I'm still afraid of ridicule, even though I know it's the truth.
Sure.
I don't know what conclusion I've come to. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, I bet. Have you done some research? I'm sure you've listened to some podcasts, you've t heard other
Yeah,
people's encounters, things like that.
trying to like just compare
Yeah,
my encounter to others, and like
yeah,
you said, listening to different podcasts and researchers, and
yeah.
it's a whole other world. It really is.
It sure is. Yeah,
But it's our world, which is the crazy thing. It's just there's a fine line of separation that we don't really understand.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I agree. 1,000,000%. Um, what type of person are you on a normal day to day? Who's Kylene? What do you like to do? Who are you? Are you very loving, motherly, friendly?
I would say I'm very friendly,
Mm-hmm.
open,
Mm-hmm.
loving, and motherly. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Great.
Um, I mean, I can tend to be shy
Yeah.
and introverted, but
Mm,
yeah, I'm always there to help anybody. I'm definitely happy-go-lucky, I'd say, rather than not.
yeah. And I would say maybe cautious, based on what you were saying. You were kind of the first one to say, "Hey, this doesn't feel comfortable. Maybe we should get out of here," right? That kind of stuff. That's why I asked, because it's just interesting. Somebody told me once that folks that are chosen, to have the ability to either see or have some sort of interaction with a Bigfoot, is usually because they are deemed friendly. So they already know who you are, what you're about before you even think of
Okay.
anything. And if they feel comfortable, like this, you're a safe person, then you're more susceptible to some sort of interaction, which is why I asked. And I'm kind of getting that vibe from you anyway.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be.
Cool. So you're out in Vermont now. Anything since then? Anything else strange? Have you received any gifts? Anything showing up in the on the front porch or anything like that?
No, nothing like that. I mean, I kind of expected to have something happen because I used to live out more remote where like something could walk right almost to my back porch up on the
Hmm.
hill. I waited for something the whole time I lived there, honestly, but nothing happened. Now I live more in town, so if it was going to happen, it's not going to happen here.
Right, right. Well, yeah.
Um, no, nothing else yet, but I'm still trying to figure out that stuff from years ago.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. Is there anything, how's your friend? So can you tell me a little bit about, you said your friend had an experience prior.
Yeah.
Could you share a
Um,
little bit about that?
she was absolutely the same kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
She's the most friendliest, first to include anyone. Um, Super loving. And she was with well actually there was a bunch of teenagers having a party in the woods on their parents' property, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she and two other girls were walking down the trail back to the road to go either meet somebody at the car and walk them up or bring somebody to their car.
Yeah.
Either one. They were walking down to the road and then going to go back up. So they get halfway down the trail to the road. They're coming up the hill and they must have been chattering and talking. I'm sorry, I'm getting off course. I'm
Oh, you're
thinking about
good.
it,
Nope.
saying it. I assume they were talking, but so they go up the hill, and on the other side of the hill is a big 8 foot, dark haired, hairy creature standing in the middle of the path. So they all take off running back to the party.
Yeah.
They get back there and they're telling everybody what happened. They're all like, no, 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 you're lying. You guys are drunk, whatever. No, no. So them and a few others come back up the trail, as they all had to leave. And in the place that they were standing mere minutes before is a tree lying across the trail
Hmm.
with its roots intact.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow. That's something. And that wasn't there.
that
Pr
was not them when they were just there.
They
No,
were just there. Right. And nobody heard a tree fall.
nope.
Wow. Very interesting. You take her to be a truthful, honest person. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
They actually, the three of them were on Animal Planet show or
Mhm.
Discovery Channel. One of them came to town and did a show
Yeah.
on Bigfoot, and they were featured in that.
Wow. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. There's so much out of that area. It's really just it's just so interesting. Like I feel like something more. They need to do more in a TV show. I mean, we got to get out there with the National Guard to find out what's going on. We got to find out what's really going on, you know?
Well, yeah, I've thought about this too and talked to a couple other people about it. And I think this general area, the Champlain Valley, the border
Sure.
between New York and Vermont, is the path of least resistance for travel. If they have such
Hmm.
big lungs and they're so strong, they must be great swimmers.
Sure.
I'm sure they'd use the lake for travel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Whitehall's a center point for not only New York and Vermont, but
Canada.
Canada and
Yeah.
Massachusetts and everywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly where my mind just went. I was just thinking about that. Um, I don't remember what I was watching or reading earlier today, but it was about migration patterns and, you know, one of the questions, that's what it was. One of the posts I put up was if you were to ask Bigfoot one question, what would it be? And then the conversation went into migration patterns and things like that. And
Hmm.
I was thinking about that, processing that today. And I was really thinking about Canada and the Adirondack Park and how close it is. And that's interesting. I never really put two and two together when I think about Canada. And you're right, Lake Champlain all the way down,
Hmm.
and ends right basically in Whitehall.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
wow. And when I look at the map, the BRFO map,
Hmm.
from the top of Lake George and down that corridor, there's a lot of sightings. Um, Lake Champlain down towards Whitehall. So yeah, I'm just kind of connecting the dots right now as I'm thinking and processing. So I'll put some research into this, and come up with more to talk about at a later date. But that's great. That's great insight though. So what else have you talked about with Bigfoot and put together?
Um, I don't know. I think they're just as natural as you and I.
Yeah.
I think we both come from the same creator.
Mm-hmm.
I think our DNA is different, but they walk like we do. They
Yeah.
reason like we do.
Yeah.
They have the same lines on their hands that we do.
Oh, good
That's the one
point.
that sticks out in my hand. It sticks out in my head. I see
Yeah.
that.
Great. That's a great point. Um, yeah, I agree with all of that. Um, what do you think about, people say that there's a connection with aliens, they're interdimensional, any of that?
I don't really think the whole alien thing. I mean, there's too many people that have said they saw them disappear
Sure.
or cloak right in
Right.
front of their face
Mm-hmm.
to not be open to the portal theory or
Sure.
interdimensional
Right.
theory. But I can't say that I've seen anything like that. So I
Right.
maybe
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. I get a lot of kickback in the comments, and all this stuff. So I feel like sometimes it's tough. But no, so I was on this big kick, really on the Neanderthal theory. That was my theory for a while there. But the more and more I hear folks, like you and your experiences, and continue on down this path, that kind of changes. Um, and I'm not sure now. I'm kind of really open to learning more. That's why I'm asking you questions, just so I can learn. It's got nothing to do with me, knowing more information or anything like that, because I don't. Um, and it's just taken me in so many different directions. I'm pretty open to it all.
yeah,
I have a vision of what I want, what I want a Bigfoot to be, right? I want a Bigfoot to be the protector of the wild. I want him to live in the forest in a cave, or sticks piled up into a teepee. I don't know, I that's what I would like, and I would want to see. I don't think I don't think it's true, but I think there's truth to it. I think there may be a possibility of some cave systems we don't know about. That's under. I mean, when you think about where they're found or seen, it's mostly in mountainous areas, right? So who knows what's under there? Nobody knows what's under there. These are rock formations of the earth moving, and a lot of natural things have happened that formed them, and there absolutely could be cave systems under there that nobody knows about. So who knows? But I do think that they're friendly.
I do too. For the most part, I think they're like you and I and
Hmm.
other people. There's good and there's bad.
Yeah.
There's ones with ill intentions,
Sure.
or potentially a juvenile just testing its limits.
Yes. Good point. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I've heard a lot about um like family units where there may be like the one son that's, kind of pushing the limits and maybe not the nicest but the rest of the family unit would protect somebody or something from him because they know that he's a little wild,
Right?
He gets a little crazy sometimes. So,
Yes, I've heard lots of stories. And I think that, well, I think most of them are from you listening to different YouTube channels and stuff where
yeah,
people write in their encounters.
sure.
Um, uh, I think there's this one person that writes into this channel often, and he doesn't use his real name, but he refers to himself as the Owl Man.
Mm,
He is of native descent. I believe he's from Canada. He's First Nations,
mm-hmm.
an elder in the tribe, and his family has been friends with this clan of Sabe people for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets all sorts of information from them. And they're way more intelligent than we are, which we already know. But according to him, they asked him to go, like, they told him facts about, like, the Mayans and the Aztecs. And this guy didn't know. So we went and looked it up, and they were right.
Mm.
So I think, I don't know, it's all connected somehow.
Yeah,
It's all connected.
yeah, I'm with you. And I just recently heard that exact same. Somebody was telling me about that and sharing a channel with me that I need to listen to. That there's somebody that writes in every once in a great while, sharing something that they've learned that they have communicated with Bigfoot, which is super interesting.
That's great.
Definitely going to give that a watch and
Mm-hmm.
listen to make sure I can learn more because that's the most compelling bit of information that I've heard in a long time. Super cool. That's awesome that you brought that up. Thank you. Um, what else you got? What else you got for me, Kylene?
I mean, nothing at the moment, I
I
don't
know.
think.
Yeah. Are you hoping to see some more Bigfoot, or are you going to go on any investigations? Do you what's the plan?
I mean, I wouldn't call them investigations. I've been out for a night hike or two just to be
Mm-hmm.
curious to see if
Yep.
something would happen.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't think I would go. I would go wanting to look for it, but if I saw it, I don't know. Actually, I might have a bit of a different approach this time, just because of everything I'd learned.
Yeah.
Unless I'm completely stunned and frozen and emotionally distraught.
Oh boy. Well, could
But
happen.
it could, like, I could still react like that. But
Yeah.
I think that now that I know that, I'm pretty sure they understand, at least to the gist of it, what we're talking about and what we're doing.
Yeah.
I would just try to communicate with it and be like, I'm not here to harm you. We don't, hey,
Right.
have your trees back. See you later.
Yeah. 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 Do you ever make it back out to Whitehall ever? Other than
All the time.
yeah, you still got
All
family out there and all that?
the time. I'm only 10 minutes from Whitehall now.
Oh, great. Oh, you're not far over there then. Yeah, that's great. You're closer to Whitehall than I am. I think it's 20-minute drive for me to get in there. It was interesting because, A Bear Road is the original spot from 1975. 75.
Something like that.
Brian and his buddies there had their encounter. And I put the drone up over there, and it's very not wooded now. He's he says back then it was very wooded, and now it's a lot of houses and just people's property and land, and very much
Mhm.
is. I did come across like a bird sanctuary, um, not too far from there.
Yeah,
Uh, did you ever go there?
the nature preserve.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's got a little
Yep.
thing you could kind of look out. It looks like a little swamp kind of deal, and thousands of birds just flying everywhere. I was like, well, this is something. It looked like something out of a movie, like unreal. Like this is some Harry Potter stuff going on over here. I thought it was super cool though. I did get some video. I didn't put the drone up there because I didn't want to harm any birds, but super cool. So anything else that you'd like to share?
Um, no, I
I,
think that's about all I have. That's all the excitement.
I can't stop thinking about those babies' handprints on that bumper. Um, that's something. That's I'm just starting to get into paranormal stuff and
Yeah.
woo, it's deep. Say that. When you wrote in to me, you were saying that you really wanted to hear about my experiences. So, I did not have experiences like you had. So you have the bona fide Bigfoot experiences. But I have some things that are kind of adding up, and it's getting weird. So, um, back when I first kind of kicked all this off, I met this gentleman named Bud. He wanted to show me this place that he feels like he's had some paranormal orbs and possible Bigfoot encounters with rocks thrown, branches breaking, all kinds of crazy noises at night. He'd set the recorder up in his tent, and go to bed for the night, and wake up and listen to all this craziness. But so I decided to go on an investigation out there with him. So me and him, never met this guy before. We're out in the woods, and we have it on video. So one of the first videos that I put up. Um,
Mhm.
and we went to a structure that we found in the forest, and it just didn't look natural, and that's what Bud was saying. He's like, this is not natural, and he slapped the tree to show that it's a live tree, that this isn't like a hollow tree, so you can hear what the
Mhm.
sound is. And when he did that, there was two very distinct knocks that came from about 20 feet away. um, Immediately after he did that, we both just stopped and was like, what was that? Where'd that come
Yeah.
from? I think we need to get out of here. And we kind of took off, you know, got a lot of slack for that. People were like, well, you're out Bigfoot hunting and you're running away. I'm like, I don't know. But when we talked about it later on, we were like, I think we were told to leave, right? So it wasn't the knocks that just scared us away. I don't know if it was mind speak or what it was, but we both had the same feeling at the same time, that not that we were in danger, but that it was time to go. So it
Right.
was it was interesting. So that happened with Bud. So these are all kind of connected to folks. Dave is my buddy. He's the dog man expert. He's also Bigfoot expert. Very, very. He's going to listen to this. So Dave, you're a Bigfoot expert too. But I like to call him Dogman because I want to learn more about Dogman. It's an interesting topic. Um, but he was talking about gifts and what that looks like, and how Bigfoot could follow you back to your home and your property, and you may have an encounter at your home, and it may kick off with something like them leaving you a gift. And it was just so funny because when he said that day, that morning, I found this little blue baby in my driveway. We have a 12-year-old kid. There's no reason. I've been here for 7 years. There's no reason. Nobody comes to our house that this would be in the driveway. But that was there. And I don't know.
Yes, I can see.
That's something, right? And it's very weird and obscure. And when I told him about it, he said, "That's a big sign because that." One thing that they're known to keep, collect, or gift is babies, because it's like their way of taking care of them.
Really?
Yeah, so
That's
freaked me
interesting.
out. I was like, okay, good. Maybe I got a gift. Um, and then I was out with Brian on a hike. He's an Adirondack hiker. Got a couple videos with him. Um, and we left some apples behind to see, we stuck them up in trees and stuff. On the way in, checked on the way out, they were still there, no big deal.
Hmm.
The big deal was the next morning I got it for work. I have a really long driveway. My driveway is probably the length of a city block, out of the woods. Once you're out
Hmm.
of the woods, then you're on the main road. Once I got to the main road, there was an apple smashed in the middle of the road, not at the end of my driveway, but outside of my driveway. And I was like, that freaked me out. I don't know what it means or if it was something
Right.
or not. But whoo,
I
I got the chills right now. It's like hard for me to breathe thinking about it because I'm like, ugh. But I don't know if it's the same app or what. I took a picture and I went to work and I said, I'm gonna pretend that didn't happen. Um, so only Brian knows. This is the first I've ever shared that. Me and
wow.
Brian are the only ones that have ever talked about that.
Wow.
Um, and then number four, and it was funny when you said, "Hey, I'd like to hear." um and I was like, I haven't had really any experience. Had a little some things that could be something, and that was it. And I don't know what it was, like 4 nights ago. um I was driving down 149, 149, um here through Fort Ann, and it's foggy out, foggy. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I hope I don't hit a deer. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Um, because it's hard to see, and I'm like, I got to slow down because this is a bad situation. Because if a deer comes out, I'm not gonna be able to stop at time.
Right.
There's a lot of deer around here, so it's a very good possibility. And when I said that, and I hit my foot on the brake, immediately this large shadow went across the road. Now, I don't know what the hell this was. I'm not claiming it to be a Bigfoot. I couldn't see what any outline of anything, but there was a large shadow that crossed the road in front of me. It was
Oh,
dark and it was probably about 3 car lengths in front of me. Um, and I just kept driving. I just said I don't know what that was, but I don't have time to investigate. I got to get home. And I'm happy I didn't hit no deer. But I haven't been able to stop thinking about that for the past 4 days. And I went yesterday. I drove by and I started slowing down. I said, let me go see if there's any footprints. And the snow we had yesterday was, it was over 40. um, and the snow had mostly melted. So there was, in that particular area, there was no snow where like you would see a print. So I just kept driving. So I didn't stop to see if there's like any indentations in the ground. Um, so that's about all I got, Kylie. That's what I have to share. Interesting, right?
your intuition was on point. You knew that there was something you had to slow down for.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. That I just got the chills because you said that. I'm like, what? What? You're right though. Yeah, because that's exactly what I was thinking. I need to slow down. There may be something here, but I was thinking I was going to hit a deer, mess my car up. Um, but it was something. I don't know if
It was dark.
it was a dark black figure. It was like mixed in with the fog, so it's like just like a blur across the
Right.
road, you know?
Right.
But it was big. So it wasn't like wasn't deer height. It was taller than that. I couldn't make out legs, arms, head, nothing like that. Just like that. Just like how my hand looks when it gets blurry like that. You know?
That's unnerving.
Yes. Yes. Freaked me out. Um, I hope that what my buddy Dave told me about them following people around, and um, he said sometimes it could be mischievous, and sometimes they could be up to no good if you come across one that's not, in the right state of mind. Um, and I hope nothing else shows up around my house because I don't think that's cool.
I like I said, I think know the gist of our communication
Yeah.
level. And I've heard some people say, like, right out loud, like, don't bother me, don't scare me, and do not follow me home.
Yes.
So if you have something else, just try blatantly saying, leave me alone, leave
Right.
my family.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what he told me to do. Um, yeah, I think if anything, if I feel anything closer to my house. So with 40 being close to Whitehall, I think there's a good possibility. There's a lot of mountains here too. I actually live on a mountain, so it doesn't make it even better, any better. And then two of my neighbors down the street have had some encounters that I keep talking to her. I want her to share it. I'm like, just your voice, I don't have to have your picture. She doesn't want to do it. I don't want to share her story for her or her experience for her. I would like her to do it because it's really compelling when she tells it. There's a couple different things that happened to her right at her house, literally a tenth of a mile from my house. So very, very interesting. So more to come on that. More to come from Fort Ann. I'm working on that too.
Yes, it's been a string of events, and I
Hmm.
something tells me it's not over. Something else is going to happen. I just don't know what.
Yeah.
And I hope I'm more prepared for it when it does.
Right. Right. Well, keep in touch. Keep in touch. Maybe we could go to Whitehall sometime and take a look around.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. That'd be
that'd be
great.
cool. That'd be cool. Help me. I could get that in my Whitehall exclusive, right? That'd be cool. Super cool, actually. Um, well, I didn't have anything else for you, Kylie. Did you have anything else for me?
I think I said it all.
All right. If you ever want to chat, we'll keep the messenger open. If there's anything you want to share, we definitely should meet up at some point and do something in Whitehall just to chat. Maybe you can show me a couple significant areas or something like that. That would be awesome. Truly,
Yeah.
super appreciate something like that. If not, we'll be at the festival again this year.
Hopefully I can make it. I missed it last year,
Oh
but
no.
this year.
Yeah. Um, yeah, we'll be there. And then yeah, that's it. So keep in touch if you'd like.
All right. Thank you so much.
Stay safe out there. We appreciate you.
Yeah. I
All right.
appreciate you for doing this.
Yep, no problem. You got it. All
Bye.
right. Bye.